Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2020. I'm your host, Shozen, and joining me today, as always, is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Hello, sir. I'm doing quite well. We had a nice CVZ show just 20 minutes ago where we covered a bunch of live action, and that sort of got me more or less hyped for the rest of the day, Shozen. We have a bunch of good stuff coming up.
We have a lot, Bogul. We have so much that I think we're going to have to put off some things until tomorrow. We'll talk about them briefly today, but there's some of this that really I kind of want to spend more time on tomorrow when we have the actual time to do it, because today is Newbie Tuesday, and that means we're going to do our continuing series of newbie shows, and today we're going to focus on living in a city. But first, we have some news. So shall we get to it?
Yes, sir. As we always do. We had a bunch of releases, a bunch of announcements, a bunch of comments that are, I think, what you are referring to at the beginning of the show. But first things first, we had a very cool thing that warrants even a video playing for us. There you go. Change the link. Meet the Avalonians, is it called? Now you can see it actually. The Avalonian faction expands the world of Albion with new lore, gameplay options, and armors. The announcement of some of the details there. Some of the lore we had seen before, but it's a very nice summary of the Avalonians, the recent addition to Albion, with a news article and two great videos. One which we will play in a second, and one that I would just want to give a brief shout out to Guguste, who does a run through of one of the new dungeons here. And then shall we play it, or do you want to talk about this first more?
Well, I mean, I just want to say I was wrong. Apparently, these aren't energy beings that live in another dimension, and we were eating their souls. Apparently, they're Arthur's knights, and they dug deep into the ground to find this perfect crystal, and then that crystal leaked milk, and they drank that milk, and they call that the chalice, right?
Let's watch that video.
We stood with Arthur in the Great War.
There we go.
We fought beside him, saw him betrayed. We returned to the ancient city of our forefathers. Since that day, Avalon's great halls remain undisturbed. Through it all, the three pillars of our order stood as one. We fight with valor. We purify with magic. We mend with spirit. We are the sons and daughters of Avalon, and the power of the Grail lives within us. The old world has returned, but you cannot see what has begun.
Ooh. One of my favorite ones yet, I have to be honest.
Well, I'm glad that everybody has now gotten to hear Elsa's real voice. I've been worried.
No. Shozen.
Well, I didn't know which one to go with. It was either that or that milk's gone bad. I wasn't sure which one to go with. Either that's Elsa's real voice or that milk's gone bad. That looked really yellow. I mean,
Well, I think it's pretty epic. It sets a nice stage for this lore background that we are getting some more information on. I will link the news article so you can take a look there, because it has a bunch of other links to various things, including the Albion lore page, where it's a description about some orders that the Avalonians are, the Order of the Grail, the Order of Magic, even some background info on the boss, and of course it has some nice pictures.
Well, they're all the Order of the Grail.
I realized I just messed up my English, of course. 1, 2, 3 English.
It's Valor, Magic, and I believe what was the last one? Courage.
Cool stuff, I think. It's nice to get some more of these fluff pieces, and I always enjoy it very much. There are some other pages, by the way, if you haven't read the lore on the disciples of Morgana or the Keepers. The Albion lore page is not a very known page.
No, I think he's somebody just said Exxon Fang in chat, for those of you who are just listening on the podcast, said that should be on the header for the main page. Absolutely. We love the lore here at Albion TV. And I think the only thing I like more than the actual lore is making my own kind of twisted Albion lore, like fracking. I'm pretty sure that these guys are all members of PETA. They're really against the fracking and the effects on the environment, and they are all attacking us with their metal constructed animals because they really, really like birds.
Birds.
Well, they made the eagle, Bogul.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And they got the Pokeball.
Yep. There's one more thing we need to plug because it's cool as well. It's almost as cool as that. We have the official Albion Online wallpapers page that got updated. There's a bunch of new wallpapers that you can take a look, put as your desktop background. It has the launcher images from the previous updates. It has some further cool looking ones from the cities, the biomes, all of that nice stuff is on there. And I even saw on Reddit today somebody already going in and removing that watermark and being like, I like the art so much, I just don't like the Albion Online logo on it. So yeah, it's cool.
As long as they don't use it for their own video game.
Yeah. That's my favorite one. These guys look so much like Space Marines, I have to say it. And Space Marines are one of my favorite things ever. And it's just strikingly similar, but I like it. Yeah, that's that. Cool pictures.
We have
cool
much
stuff,
more news to get to.
Lore. Take a look.
We have the extended premium promo pack.
Oh, right. We have to do that as well. That's something we missed last week to promote.
We didn't touch on that.
No.
But it does have that recruiter's pony, right?
It does. If you have not purchased premium yet, then you can have that. You have that nice thing in your store, and you can get that at a discount.
Oh, that's not the recruiter's pony. My bad. That's it's a different mount.
No. That's the Highland. I think. What's the name? Keeper horse.
The keeper horse, yes.
Yes. Okay. So, promotion done. Shozen. What else is on the show today? We have, I think.
Well, we have two more news pieces. I mean, we have a bit of community news that we can get to really quick, and we do suggest you guys go back and watch this if you haven't already. Korn was on Jonah Vale's Twitch stream earlier in the week, and they had a very long discussion on small-scale PvP and a bunch of other little topics, but I don't want to spoil it. We'll let you guys go watch that there on your own time. It was pretty good, and it was nice to see our developers on some of the other Twitch streams.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at it now. It's more than an hour. It's an hour and 20. Wait, I need to change this so Jonah's face looks all right. That's better. And yeah, it's mostly from the perspective of Jonah Vale, who is, as you said, a small scale PvPer. And he got Korn on the line, and they talk about a bunch of exciting stuff. I mean, he goes in there because they are discussing the recent Alliance test announcement, and Korn sort of gives some answers about that from the dev's perspective. But one thing that he let slip in that interview was that one of the next updates, if not the next update, is sort of has a focus on small scale PvP, which is something that we did not know before, which is pretty cool.
Are you saying that it's a focus or that it's going to touch on small scale PvP? Because I'm under the impression.
Focus, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, focus is a word. Focus is a word. I was under the impression that the next updates we would see, according to that roadmap, we would see a Royal Continent rework, Outlands factions, economy rework, and solo content.
I think we are due for a updated roadmap very soon, where some of these things might change a little bit. But I think if Korn goes on that stream like this weekend and says, small scale, I think that's at least a revised hint for sure. We'll have to stay tuned and see where this goes. We don't actually know yet. Like, sometimes we get a little bit of a tip off on this, but
we get a tip off to a couple of things,
but not this one. No,
not this one.
No,
this was blindside.
And chat, no, it's not B mounts. Sorry.
When are the B mounts, Bogul?
I think that guy who has been posting them needs to be a little bit more energetic about them. I heard it's getting to them slowly.
Okay. And then we had let's see, the character, like the what was it? The effective living in both the Royals and the Outlands. That's a player article. Do you want to pull that up and give a link? This was an interesting. I just got sent this right before we came on air. I don't even know who wrote it yet. I should probably find that out.
It's Exxon Fang.
Oh, it is Exxon Fang. Oh, he wrote it himself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He sent it to me, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And he did it very good. Very good. Okay. This is very helpful for people. How to live effectively in both the Outlands and a Royal City.
Yeah, there were some changes with Queen Patch 3 that sort of allow you to go back and forth better, quicker, more efficiently. And he gives, or he describes how to do that effectively or, properly, I should say. And I think that's something, it's not very long, it's just very quick, that you can definitely link to people who have any questions on that and, want to live in both places, the Royals and in the hideouts or in the rest cities in the Outlands. For sure.
Very good. And then we had one more piece, and this is the big piece, because this is the thing we'll be covering more in depth tomorrow, but there was another announcement. We showed the roundtable announcement, but this is the official announcement, developer statements on the official forums by Altharian, aka Robin Henkes, and it's kind of like an apology and statement of what they plan to do going forward. Apology on how it was communicated. It reiterates their intent and how they're going to be going forward. We will cover this in depth tomorrow, but this goes on to the topic of using territory control as a method of limiting alliance size effectively.
Yeah, you said it, TLDR. There's going to be negative consequences of having too much stuff. And the hard cap of just limiting player numbers might not, or no, will not happen on February 26th, as announced previously. And all the details as to why they changed their mind for good reason are in there. And it's on 10 pages already. So the other one was pretty hotly discussed, and this one is as well. Definitely check it out, and Shozen said it. More about that tomorrow. But today, what are we doing today, mostly?
Well, Bogul, It's Newbie Tuesday. And every Newbie Tuesday, when we're doing a newbie show, because sometimes, Bogul, big things happen. Sometimes at the beginning of the season, we have to cover that. But when that's not happening, we're going to be doing a newbie show. And we're going to be covering different topics as you progress from a new player in the crossroads to a new player getting your foothold in the city and then expanding out into the world, finding many, many things to do. And today, we're going to be focusing on city life, getting your foothold in the city, showing up, learning the map, how things work, what the different buildings are, what the different menus are, how you can get around city life.
Yeah, and the hope is, of course, that over time we create sort of a little bit of a library that, we can either use for some, edited magic, or that we can just link to newer players, and where you can just go like, hey, wait, didn't the guys from the Albion TV talk about this at length? And then the hope is that we can, link that to people.
And we will be doing this a number of times. This same episode we'll probably be doing in another month or so. So if there's something in this guide that we do today that you feel we didn't cover well enough, or you would have explained a different way, or you think could be cut entirely, let us know. This is an ongoing process, because Bogul, one of the things we know is we're going to be talking about the mini map today a little bit.
Yep.
Guess what's changing tomorrow?
The mini map.
Yep, 100%. So this is going to be outdated tomorrow. But without further ado, Bogul, as you enter the city here as a new player, you come from another player.
Roll back 3 seconds, because I want to change the view, and then you can lead us in. 3, 2, go. Hello, Shozen.
All right, say, Bogul, you're a new player who's just arrived in the city. You figure out which city you want to live in, and you said, you know what, Martlock, best lock, and you just arrived from, say, I don't know, Fort Sterling, one of those other cities that isn't quite as good as Martlock. And you arrive at You arrive at the Travel Planner. Now, the Travel Planner, as you've already noticed, because you traveled from Fort Sterling to Martlock, allows you to naked travel between any of the cities in Carleon and travel for a small, did I say small fee, Bogul? Was I about to say small fee?
I think you did, yeah. It's
a massive, gigantic fee, far greater than anybody could afford to ever do rationally. You can travel between cities with stuff, so don't do it. Make sure that before you travel between cities, you are completely naked and dropped off all your stuff in the very important location we're about to talk about next, Bogul.
The bank, yeah. There are 2 more notes you should know about when looking at the travel planner. One, you cannot travel from the Royals to the Outlands, right? That's just not on there.
Not possible.
And later on, which is important if we talk about islands, you can set your favorite islands here at the travel planner, not at the island merchant.
And then you can use this travel guy right here to hop between your favorite islands. And if naked, Bogul, you can go to any island, right?
I mean, if you're naked, you can even go to Carleon, right?
Yeah, you can even go to Carleon.
That you can't do even with gear, right?
No, you can't take gear to Carleon, no matter how much you're willing to pay.
Why? Because there's PvP in between. Yes. We wouldn't want people to get a free pass out of PvP zones, would we? No. But let's head over to where we were just talking about, the bank. The bank is kind of important, but you'll see it on your map here. It's one of those interesting things that stands out. So you notice you see a bunch of icons. Most of them are these squares, and they all look like they've clearly like these T8 squares. These are all buildings. We'll get to those in a little bit, but you see some icons on your map, including the bank, the marketplace, the expedition master, the guy we were just at, the travel planner, and the energy manipulator. But let's go talk about that bank. And the bank in this game is actually in another zone. Yeah.
This happened because too many people hung outside the bank. There was a lot of people in the bank, and it would basically, I don't know what, the zones would overpopulate, and it would look like there was nobody there.
Yeah.
When in fact, there were just a ton of people there. So they moved the bank and the marketplace into their own separate zones. And it gives the world just a more alive feeling. So when you go to the bank, there's a ton of people here pecking around this chest. Now, if you were in the crossroads, you may have noticed that you have a chest you can access there too. And it's very, very similar. But your stuff that was in the crossroads isn't here, is it, Bogul?
No, that's a problem. That's something you realize pretty quick, that, this is local. This is a local bank, just like the one you saw in your starting city. And like all the banks in the game are. They are bound to one location. You can't transfer or carry stuff between cities. So that's the first thing you notice. The second thing, you notice a bunch of buttons.
There's a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
The most important ones are sort, stack, and manage. Sort and stack, they kind of do what they say they're going to do. Stack, anything that's the same, stacks it on top of each other. Except for damaged stuff. You actually have to repair it before it'll stack. Sort does exactly what it says. It sorts it. Tiers, really easy. Get your gear in order. Manage does quite a bit now, doesn't it, Bogul? Because it allows you to do something really cool here. When Bogul and I started playing this game, this one tab that you have your Bogul, scroll down, that's all the space that you had in these banks. So we were forced early on to buy islands, build houses, build chests, put the chests inside the house, and then put our stuff inside that chest. And then they were like, that's a lot of work. How about we just allow people to buy a new tab for a fraction of the cost of making themselves an island, and they can just build out their banks themselves inside the bank, and it allowed people to congregate in a public area. Thank God they did that. That's it's a lot cheaper now. I don't have to make islands in every city. I just buy a few extra tabs and boom, 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 I organize them. You can edit them. You can change the icons. You can change the names. You can put whatever you want into each one. It's not that expensive, though they do get more expensive the more you own. So don't think you're going to go ahead and buy yourself 20 tabs right away. It does get expensive quick.
Yeah. And you can click this thing and move stuff around. It has a very high capacity for carrying stuff, for storing stuff. So, at the beginning, I don't think you will run out of space unless you start, being a month or two in. Then I think you should start considering this, adding additional tabs. But still, it's if it's there, it's good. And if you're that guy who likes to, have all that storage and nice names of what boxes stuff is, then it's definitely a thing. All right, bank. Anything we forgot there? Sometimes people wonder if you can store silver or gold in these. You cannot, because you wouldn't lose it anyway if you die. So just to clear up some confusion there. And of course, there are other means to store things other than this bank. You can, place down chests on various locations in the world, including on your island. So if you need more space or a different organizing system, there's different options, not just this one. But I already see you. I just walked next to you.
And each tab is completely separate as far as carry weight goes. They add more weight to it, so you're good. You're not going to overload your stuff. Don't worry about that. It does carry a massive amount of stuff, and the more tabs you have, the more stuff you can carry. So
now let's go ahead. Walk next to you. I saw you standing next to the market, and I think that's the next important thing we need to mention briefly. When I look at the map, you have to walk down there as well, but you can see the marketplace here, and then you see this ox herd just standing here. What's this?
The oxes? Yeah. This is... You may have seen what this originally looks like when you were at the crossroads. If you didn't, I suggest if you want to take a good look at it, you might want to go back to the crossroads, because you're never going to see what a market looks like in one of the cities. They are completely packed with people, and all you will see are just a massive amount of mounts of all different sizes just stacked on top of each other in a, I don't know, in orgy of marketing goodness. Like, people are buying low and selling high. I mean, they're really enjoying themselves right now. But Bogul, why don't we go ahead and look into the market and explain what they see? Because there's 5 different tabs across the top, 4 tabs down the right side, and the first one right there, it seems pretty self-explanatory. It says search and looks like you can type in it. And I imagine if you type in it, you'll just get whatever you type in there, as long as it's in the market. No results found, Bogul.
I couldn't find a Shozen on the marketplace.
No, I'm no longer available.
Oh.
You see, Vasort paid a very hefty fee. for naming rights. I am now Articulo Shozen.
Yes, but I mean, obviously, you just type the item name if you know the item name in that box, and you can search for the item. You can also, partially type the name out. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just don't need to make mistakes like I did when spelling stuff. But you can also filter, there's different things here. You can look at the category like armor or magic weapons. You can filter for the tier, the enchantment level, or the item quality. It's more or less self-explanatory, I think, but one thing I wanted to show briefly is that you can actually click on these headers here, meaning you can change the sorting for duration and price. And a pro tip there, sometimes if you are looking for special opportunities on the market, then you can see what's been listed recently, or
speaking of seeing what was listed recently, why don't you go ahead and click on the buy button there of anything?
Okay. Oh,
because that will allow you to hit the little arrow on the right there that expands. And you'll be able to see a history of what it sold for in the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, the last 4 weeks. You can really get a better idea of what the going rate is for what you're either trying to buy or sell. And you do buying and selling by those tabs on the right. You're already seeing the buy tab. That's what we've been playing with already. But the sell tab, you're going to want to use that as well to go ahead and look at what the going rate for the items that you would like to sell has been, so you can place your goods at a competitive price, right, Bogul? You don't want to just throw it up on the marketplace with no idea of what things are going for, what quantities of things are selling.
Yeah, you can mouse over this. You can see the volume. You can see the average price. You can scroll down and see, how much support you have and stuff like that. And then if you decide you want to sell your item, you can do two things. You can sell directly, or you can set a sell order. You can list a sell order on the market. If you sell straight up, it sells into the highest buy order. If you create a sell order, then it goes into the sell orders listing. But then, you can pick a different price and you don't have to choose this one. But you also have to pay a market tax, a setup fee for that, which can be significant depending on what you're trying to sell for. Yeah, I mean, markets are pretty self-explanatory in general. 2 notes, the market tax is half if you have premium status. So that's another consideration if you want to get into the market flipping business. Also, if you want to set a buy order and you don't quite know the name or the thing that you want to, look for, then there is the way to filter stuff down, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, and then do it from here as well.
Well, one thing you touched on real briefly, and I just want to really make sure that this is explained real well. When you're selling stuff, you don't want to just hit the sell button. Selling the sell button will, yes, sell it right away, but it will sell it to somebody who's created a buy order, and they usually place that order well below the going rate of an item. So if you were to create your own sell order, you can sell it for generally a much higher price. And by much higher, I mean like 20%, 30%, sometimes more.
Yes. Important. And of course, the last tab here down below is the My Orders listing. There you would see, if you have a sell order listed, then it shows up here down below. Same goes for buy orders. And actually, if you have a completed order, there's another one here that shows up then. And one note, if you don't pick up the stuff that arrives or that you bought within 60 days, then it disappears. So don't forget your stuff on the market and have it go poof.
So I am helping people with another important market, the raffle market. Bogul, let's go look at one of the first buildings that we're going to look at today. Not one of the special icons on the map. Not I'm not going to go to the island merchant yet. Let's go over to the repair station. This is a thing that I get asked about all the time when I'm on my GM account and chatting. People say, "Where is the repair station?" And I have to explain that it's the building that looks like a table.
It does. It has this nice guy with the long beard. And if you click on it, you can already see it. You can place items in there, repair them if they're not full durability. And yeah, get that durability back up for a silver fee. And it's if you play MMOs, the sort of functionality is pretty, again, well known.
Yeah, pretty basic.
One tip here is that on the left side you see the repair all button, and that says repair all inventory items. And inventory is not just what's on your character, but also everything in here. So
now, pro tip, if you are, say, in a guild and you join up as a newbie and you do some battle looting, make sure you donate that loot first before you go down and hit that repair button. Make sure that, like, your guild, like, fund stealer, whatever guild you're in, it probably has a fund stealer. Make sure that guy pays the repair bill instead of you. You don't want to be caught with your guild's repair bills. Let the rich guys who are getting all that siphon energy money pay for that repair bill.
I was going to say, if you had like a super successful ganking session and you got like 50 pieces of gear or something like this, and you're actually a little short on silver, and you need to strategically decide what you want to do, maybe do single items and don't click that button immediately. All right, the other two on this tab here is the salvage button. Again, it's destroying items for a return. 2 returns you get a quarter, 25% of the initial resources required to make that item, and a silver amount. If you have too many for some reason and you want resources out of them, that's an option. Why would you want to destroy an item to get the raw resources? Because you want to just craft it again to get some more fame, or?
Well, maybe, but like I feel like this is a product of a bygone era before we had the ability to study, which is when we go to the next area, we'll go ahead and look at the places where you can craft items, the other player made buildings, and there, along with the ability to craft, you have the ability to study, which is you could take the item and just like you would in salvage here, you can place it over there and then hit the destroy button. And instead of getting resources and some silver, you'll actually get some fame instead towards your progression in that direction. And I feel like salvage is largely the old way that was done, the old way you would try to just keep crafting.
One thing I do sometimes with artifact items is that I really, really want that artifact for some reason, because I'm trying to get, like an excellent piece or something. So sometimes I do that. And a pro tip, if you salvage artifact items, because you get 25% back, you need to salvage 4 artifact items at the same time to get 1 artifact. And if you do 3 or less, you don't get an artifact at all, and there's no chance to get one.
Oh God, Bogul, you're making me scared here. Oh gosh. There's also another thing you can do here is you can re-roll items, and this allows you to improve the quality, not the enchantment level, but the quality of items in some kind of RNG, Casino Royale, spin the wheel of fun, throw your money away kind of solution. You may or may not get a masterpiece out of it.
I think the chance is less than 1 in 100 to get a masterpiece. Newbie trap, newbie advice. Be careful with that. It's possible, but it's rarely worth doing it. Usually, if you just look on the market, the higher quality items sell sometimes for exactly the same price, and only if you look specifically for excellent or masterpiece quality versions of that type, then you have to add like 10% or for masterpiece maybe.
So masterpiece gets quite a bit more. But I also saw another thing in chat. Now this may have been a troll. But they're saying that what you can do is after you go ZVZing, you can go and salvage all the gear in protest against the repair costs. You can just take all, and the best thing to do is to take a screenshot of it and then send it to the guild who you just beat, so that they know what you're doing with their stuff. Like, that's the way you do it. Like, you would say, instead of us using it against you next week, we just salvaged it. We don't need your trash.
Wow.
Real good, solid troll there. I like it. All right. Moving on from the salvage merchant, we have the island merchant. We talked about him briefly. He's the guy that allows you to buy an island, to upgrade your island, and generally be a baller ass farmer, right? Like, you can't be a farmer without your own island. You can't own your own laborer farm, or what do you call all those people who are laborers? I guess farm sounds very slave like. You might not want to what do you want to call it when you have your laborer?
I think people
factory?
people just make mean slave jokes all the time. I think that's what it is to be.
All right. They look like they're fairly, well taken care of. You have T8 laborers. They look pretty nice. They look like they're living pretty good on the farm.
Yeah, but that's the island merchant is where first you purchase access to your island. It says there you need 30 days of active premium status to be able to get one. But this is where you would then, go to the island. You could either do it here or from the travel planner. And of course, this is where you can later on upgrade your island. You can see it, it has 6 different levels, and each of these levels give you more farm plots, more building plots. And later on, if you are in a guild, you can also either buy a guild island here or upgrade your guild island at this place if you have the correct rights to that.
And good news, guys, the island merchant is single.
How do you know?
I just know.
Okay. If you
Zincade Ka 228, she's failed. That's what her name is. Click on it. All right.
One thing briefly, because I just teleported to it. I just went to an island. This is a max level 1. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 slots for buildings and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for farming. And that's, how a max level 1 looks like. The first one you have looks a little different and only has, 1 house slot. So that's just for showing it briefly. And then we can hop on to the next thing that we have, Shozen. What's that?
What is the next one? Oh my gosh. Hold on, I have to bring that up. I'm currently looking at the wrong screen. Bogul, you caught me.
Ha! All right.
The Vanity Merchant. I knew he was on here somewhere. We have to go talk about the Vanity Merchant. I mean, did you talk about the build button? Because that's kind of hidden. And I feel like if you're telling a person to buy an island, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going out to the island, and then they're like, okay, I got... How do I get anything to work here? You got to tell them that there's this hidden button that they can use to go ahead and find where the building is. And there's H, and then there's also, you can click on your character and then go all the way down in that little menu and drop down, and then there's build. And there you have all the buildings. Very hidden. And I feel like that's an important thing to tell people when you tell them to go ahead and buy an island, build a house, build a farm, raise up all the cows around here.
Yes, you can also press H, by the way, and then it opens it too. Yeah, right.
H for hidden.
Vanity Merchant. What's this dude sell me fireworks for 25 gold? What?
Okay, so
what's this?
We're gonna go to the Vanity Merchant real quick, because the Vanity Merchant is also one of those guys who seems to have gotten replaced by a menu. So the Vanity Merchant will sell you fireworks. He'll sell you some tabards. He'll sell you 2 skins for mounts. But you have to have like the material that you get in game.
Mm-hmm.
And he will also, you can also turn in adventure tokens for new avatar rings, and you get the tokens when you already have that particular ring.
Well, you get it as part of the Adventurous Challenge that is different every month. And then you can either choose to consume that avatar ring and then you just have a different avatar ring, or you can turn that avatar ring here into a token, adventurous token, and then you can choose a different one if you don't like that one. And then there's special ones for two rings and avatars and stuff. And yeah. But you mentioned the replacement. What's that?
Yeah, if you go into the menu, Bogul, and you go into appearance, you've got a special little tab over here. It's called the wardrobe. Now, the wardrobe is really where the vanity merchant is. This is where you can spend your gold on special items, Bogul. Or you can equip items that you've already unlocked through other means, such as the Snow Bunny Stalker hat.
Right, yes.
Or your favorite, the Yule hat. And then you take the Yule hat, you combined that with the Innkeeper's shirt, and I don't know what kind of shoes you use. I'm guessing that they're jester shoes, knowing you. Yes. Silly old man. And then you get yourself a couple of beer mugs, and you're all set to go.
Sweet.
And you're ready to get e-married.
E-married?
Yeah.
Yeah. Become
Al Bundy right off the bat.
Yeah. I like my GM outfit more, I have to say, so I'll keep that on for now. But that's not the only things. I think in one of the upcoming episodes, we will talk about activities a little bit more. So things you do in the world of Albion. And I suppose we can mention briefly that these activities, include doing some PvE stuff. These are called expeditions. There is an expedition master in every city. You have seen him in the crossroads as well. The ones in the city, however, have a higher level. So that means that they offer higher expeditions,
more challenges,
and just group challenges as well.
Yeah, you can go up, you can do solos, you can do groups, and then you can turn in maps for hardcore expeditions as well. And that really turns up the challenge. But it is instanced, so it is not PvP. You can, however, find that you'll pay some hefty repair bills. Why don't we move on to what do we got? Do we want to do the arena NPC while we're talking about queuing up for events real quick, and then we'll move on to the artifact foundry?
Sure. The little or big lady you see here with that nice tiger and that nice armor is the arena master. Here you can queue for 5 versus 5 matches that are not full loot, have a pretty low item power requirement, meaning that the gear that is used there is getting scaled down, so it's a little bit fairer, and you can just try out a bunch of builds, have some fun,
learn the mechanics. This is where you really learn, like recognizing when another person is casting a spell, what kind of spell that they're casting, and how you counter it, and what you need to do to react. And it's the very most basic version of read and react PvP. Now you can cut your teeth in ganking, but you're not really read and react in ganking. It's more like overpower and overwhelm. That's what you're trying to do. Overworld PvP isn't the best place to learn how to do high-end PvP in this game. You want to start with something a little bit more controlled. Even duels, I would say, are a better way of really improving your skills. But arenas make for a really good non-lethal way to hone your skills in PvP before you start doing like Hellgates, for example.
And we will talk about Hellgates and other activities, PvP activities, in one of our later videos. Two notes on the Arena Master. You see here the rewards button. If you complete and win an arena, you get these arena tokens, arena sigils, and these can be turned in for various vanity rewards. And royal sigils. And pro tip, the sigils ones are the ones that make you money if you do the arena.
Oh, nice. And another thing, you can actually, if you go up to your menu and you look right to the left of mail, there's a little a scroll there, and that gives you Party Finder, Arena, Adventurers Challenge, and Guild Challenge. So you can queue up for the arena right from there. I also would just remind you guys, if you haven't already, start doing your Adventurers Challenge every day. Make some quick loot on that. It's an easy way to fill it up, and all you have to do is just take a look at it and find out what, where you are. And basically, just by playing the game, you can complete that thing. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's energy manipulator.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Artifact Foundry first, then energy manipulator.
Let's mention it briefly because it's on the map, similar to next to that portal. The energy manipulator is honestly a little bit more advanced for turning in siphoned energy. That's a resource that guilds get when they fight over territories as part of the Outlands warfare. That's not really part of the city life at this point, so I'd like to skip it over and then bring it in when we talk about the Outlands. How about that?
Well, there's just one part I would talk about this.
Sure.
The energy manipulator is where you buy your tokens for the Crystal League and where you sign up for Crystal League, and that's something that you can do pretty early on in your career.
Right.
I mean, like it's lethal. You'll lose your items and stuff, but the item power cap on like tier 1s is so low that you can do those pretty much right after you've done a few arenas. You learn how the game works, and you're like, I want something just a little bit more competitive. You can go right into the crystals and do those a couple times a day, even at a relatively low level.
Yeah. And then there is some other things you mentioned the purchase one. There is some battle mounts. I mentioned that these are for guild warfare. These are pretty like super expensive and really strong, really powerful. And usually these are getting used, by guilds with tens and hundreds of people who need one support unit or some, damage unit when they do the big guys warfare shenanigans. There's also the transmute tab here, but that one is duplicate on a different location, which I want to talk about briefly. And I think that might be one of the last things we have time for today to look at, right, Shozen?
Yeah, I mean,
Artifact Foundry.
Yeah, let's just look at the Artifact Foundry real quick. I don't think we'll get to actually look at player-run buildings. And I mean, I almost feel like maybe looking at the player-run building and just teaching them how to use the buildings themselves is a little bit more important than the Artifact Foundry, even if we only have 5 minutes left.
I mean, I'll do... All right, let's do a building first and then see if we have time.
Yeah. Let's just, I'm going to head over to any old refining building. And the first thing you notice when you click on a refining building is that you can see right at the top it has a usage fee. It says, the one I'm at right now, it says it charges 20%. Now, that's different than at the Crossroads. You're not charged anything there, are you, Bogul?
No, you're not. And this usage fee only applies for tier 4 and higher.
Well, T3 and higher.
What?
T3.
You're
6
right.
silver.
I'm right. I'm wrong. I said tiers. Yes. This only applies for tier 2 and higher. Yes.
No, tier 3. Tier 2 is still free.
Damn it.
Now, let's move on to the next part, Bogul. When you click on one of these that you're going to refine, you'll notice at the bottom of that, next to that crap button, there's a little checkbox. It says, focus, Bogul. Focus. Can you focus for me, Bogul?
I can try.
How do you get focus, Bogul?
Focus
By
you get when you
attention
have
real hard.
Premium status. You get that when you have premium status. And that allows you to have not only a bunch of nice, bonuses, and frankly, quite important things. But one of them is that you can use focus when you craft or refine. And what this little checkbox will do, it will change your resource return rate. What doesn't it? I can't show it on screen, but it does.
Well, my current resource return rate now, Bogul, if I was to do this with my focus, would be 53.9. It's not bad. I'll take it.
Yeah, mine doesn't change because I don't have premium, I think. I don't know. For some reason, we'll have to edit this segment and redo this at a later time, I think.
We could do this on your regular account next time so that we can actually show everybody the whole joys of a massive empire of economic growth and profitability.
That's an idea.
We could do that.
Okay. All right. If you're watching this live, you can refine stuff here as you have seen in the tutorial more than you could do previously. If there's a resource return rate associated to each building. There's different, return rates for the various biomes and cities. You can check that out on the top right here. There's production bonuses depending on where you are. And these would show up if you, click on a thing and look at the resource return rate there. And then if you use focus, it's 30% more, which doesn't show on the UI. Okay. Crafting fees, yes, you can.
Well, there's the one other thing you could do here. You can transmute. Remember, at these, you can upgrade at the refining stations. I want to cover transmuting real quick. This basically creates a ceiling for all resources, as it creates a level at which you can just make your own, right? Like, so we don't see overinflation of resources. I don't want to get too heavy into this, but there is a process by which you can take a previous level of resource and raise it up to the next enchantment level or the next tier. And we will cover that probably in a future episode where we get into profits in a city. I think they'll be in the profits tutorial. This is not about profit. This is just about basic use here. Oh, are we really? Are we? The chat is freaking out because they can't get their 42 people into the raffle. We're stuck at 40 and it's just not turning. Come on, 2 more so we can pull this raffle. They're really getting upset there in chat, Bogul. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. We might have to help these kids out.
I think what we have to do, Shozen, is we have to cut the episode 5 minutes ago and then use that footage at a later time when we piece together some sort of newbie YouTube video and release it to the public with much more cleaned up and nice looking things and a different map.
Well, yeah, I'm fine with that. We'll take care of that. But thank you guys. We got a little bit more to cover on this, but we do not have time. We're going to try to make the next one a little bit tighter. And if you're like, wait, I really needed to know how to transmute the wiki, the Albion wiki. Why don't we teach them how to use the wiki real fast?
I don't want to show chat, but I'm supposed to, open my chat window on the left and type /wiki. And then followed by an item name. And then it opens in a browser, the wiki. And then if I type this right, then it leads you straight to the official Albion wiki that I need to show on stream. Here we go. And then you can learn about all the things on there.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and announce the 4 winners in chat right now. If you want to know if you won the raffle, go ahead and look in chat right now. There are 4 names in there, and many of them are unreadable. So I will put it on to you guys to read it yourselves, and then you can go ahead and whisper me if you won and had your name drawn, and I will hook you up between shows tomorrow, and you'll get some gold codes. But I think it's time for us to end this show and get ready for the great Taziki to join us, because we've got crystals in just over 5 minutes. And I want to give another raffle away during that too.
Yeah, sure. Am I supposed to turn on the waiting screen thing, or are we just seamlessly going over?
Why don't we put on the waiting screen for about 30 seconds so it makes it easier for you to cut? Okay. And we'll just cut from there, and I'll just change the back end.
All right, let's do this. Be right back in 2 minutes, guys. 1 minute.